Hey guys, today what I wanted to share with you are 4 of my favorite streamer retrieve techniques. I'm going to show you the zigzag, the give and go, the burn, and what I like to call the fish hook. Alright, let's get casting. The first cast that I'm going to show you guys is the zigzag. The zigzag is designed for close quarters, and it's designed to create the action of a zigzag or a minnow trying to skate. You're trying to keep that minnow within, or the fly within that first foot of the water column, no deeper. So we're going to cast it out, just let it sink for a minute to get down into the water a little bit, and then I'm going to start the zigzag motion with the rod. So let's see. Short cast out, bring in the slack, and now I'm just moving that rod back and forth. What you'll notice is every time that I do a zig or a zag with the fly rod, what it actually does is I bring in a little bit of that tension as well, or a little bit of that slack to keep it moving. Let's do it again. Short cast out, let it sink, move that rod. The other cool thing that you can do is when you cast out, you can actually zigzag it right down the river itself. So let's see that. Short cast out, let it sink for a second, rod up. And that's a zigzag. Man, it really pisses the bass and the trout off. Awesome. Alright, the second cast that I'm going to do is called the burn. You've probably seen it done by saltwater guys. But in freshwater, for trout and bass especially, it works fantastic. Let's remember, a brown trout can swim 30 miles an hour, and there's no way that even with a two-hand retrieve, you can bring that fly in at 30 miles an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast it out. Now typically I cast upstream, but here, just so you can see it, I'm going to cast it downstream so you can see how the burn works and works longer. So here we go. Simple cast out, let it sink. Now I'm going to tuck the rod underneath my arm, and I'm going to two-hand it back as quick as I can. About halfway through, you pause. Then you bring it back and you let it dangle just at the end of your rod tip, because sometimes that trout or bass will follow you all the way back to your rod tip. Let's check it out again. Easy cast, letting it sink, rod tip, rod underneath the arm, as fast as you can back. Halfway through, quit, bring it back the rest, and then pause. You gotta remember to do the pause in the middle and at the end, because that's where that kill strike comes. One last time. Simple cast, letting it sink. Again, usually I'm casting upstream to do this, not downstream. Rod tip, rod underneath the arm, pull back, pause, pull back, pause. Just let it hold there and hang for a minute, and sometimes you get a bang right on the dangle. That's the burn. Alright, the third cast that I'm going to show you guys is called the give and go. It's a cast that you'll typically do when the water gets below 48 degrees Fahrenheit. When trout are in that cold water, their metabolism really slows down, and you need to slow down your presentation in order to get it in front of the fish. This is an easy way to maintain your fly in front of that fish with this give and go technique. All I'm going to do, cast it out, let it swing. When it gets into position, I'm just going to basically pull with my hand and then let that line back out. The give and go. Alright, so let's see the give and go in action. Cast. Typically I let it settle, and then all I do with my hand is just bring it back. Give and go. Give and go. Give and go. And as that fly's crossing that current, crossing that seam, that's typically where the trout will hit. Let's see it again. Simple cast, let it sink, upstream mend, and now give and go, give and go. And what you can imagine again is just that bait fish is undulating, moving, coming across that current. That is just an awesome technique. The last technique that I'm going to show you is called the fish hook. It is without a doubt my favorite retrieve in the whole world. I've caught a huge amount of large trout and bass on this technique alone. It's completely different in that I'm going to cast upstream. I'm going to lay my fly line so that it's perpendicular to the current. I'm going to retrieve it all the way down the seam, and then I'm going to twitch it and move it across the current itself. So let's show you how it's done. Line is up. Move that rod tip, strip with your hand, and when it gets down to the tail, stop and recast. Way upstream, put an upstream mend in, and now just move that rod tip, stripping it, bringing it back. Last time. Cast as far upstream as you can. Put a downstream, upstream mend in the line, and now move that rod tip and strip it back. Awesome technique. My #1 retrieve. All right, fish on.
Hey!
The other thing that I want to show you guys is if your fly line gets twisted, what you do is you hold your fly rod and you basically bring the fly reel back at you. It untwists the line. You do it about 12 times and it'll detwist your line.